Welcome back, everybody, to another great episode of Startup Sense. This is your host, Jonah Lupton. Hope you're having a wonderful day. We got another exciting episode for you. On the phone, I have Krish from Chargebee. He is the co-founder. He's actually calling us from San Francisco today, but I believe the company is based in Indiana. Is that right, Krish?
Thank you, Jonah. Yes. So we are based in Chennai, India, and having business operation as a C Corp deliverer in US.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself, whether it's business, personal, we just want to get to know you a little bit, but then we'll start talking about the company.
Sure. So my name is Krish. I'm one of the co-founders of Chargebee. Four of us started the company. So I am a computer science engineering grad who turned into a marketer over a period of time. I worked for 10 years in various engineering roles before deciding to start the company on my own, along with the three other co-founders. So,
awesome. So tell us. I mean, Chargebee is a subscription billing service, but that's the quick version. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about Chargebee?
Sure. So we are like the Stripe for billing intelligence, and we work very closely with Stripe, Braintree, and all the payment gateways. So the way to look at it is there is your product or service which you want to accept recurring payments, and then there are payment gateways which help you get paid. But there is this middle layer where you need to keep track of who are your customers, who needs to be charged, and tracking their life cycle for billing intelligence, and then invoicing them, making sure that your taxes are collected and also get paid automatically. So all this is the layer where some payment gateways do give a little bit of subscriptions, but they don't do justice to everything that you need to have your billing operations running. So Chargebee solves this problem of bridging the gap between what your product and service does and managing your customer information and subscription layer, along with automated payments and invoicing, so that the end-to-end flow of lead to ledger is automated and managed very efficiently for recurring revenue businesses. That's what we do.
So you work with a lot of online e-commerce businesses, SaaS companies. What other types of business do you work with, like, gyms, that have members and they have to charge these members every month? Where do you guys draw the line?
Sure. So the product is built API first, which means that we definitely appeal to a lot of developers who look for flexibility. So quite naturally, more than 50% of our customer base is software as a service companies, which are other software companies which use Chargebee for billing. And there are e-commerce subscription businesses like Vinyl Me Please and Soylent, which use Chargebee. And then, of course, there are lots of different services which have some kind of a recurring revenue nature that also uses. So there is a mix of companies which start with a simple plug-and-play solution to the ones which use API-driven solution when they scale. So that's how the service is built.
Okay. And I should say, in full disclosure, I'm a new customer of Chargebee. I was actually introduced to them by a couple people that I reached out to. One that actually works for one of their competitors, and he actually referred me to Chargebee, saying they'd be a good because they just do a great job with startups. And then I have a friend that's been an e-commerce entrepreneur for many years, and he recommended Chargebee for the services that I was looking for. So, I mean, you guys are, I'd never heard of Chargebee up until about a month ago, but obviously you guys are making a pretty big impact on some people. So you're doing some good stuff. Take us back to, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff in this interview, but let's go back to the beginning when you started the company. Now, that was, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yes. So we started the company 5 years ago, and the product is out in the market for over 3.5 years, and now serving customers in 45 countries.
Wow.
So it's 4 founders. We started out of an apartment. We just wanted to build a company together. One of them was my college classmate during engineering days, and we always wanted to build a company similar to Zoho. And Zoho started off as Wembu Systems, and then later on morphed into AdvenNet, and then they went on to build Zoho as a bigger brand. And for us, the inspiration was to build an interesting organizational culture that we are proud of, and we just wanted to be able to build something nice like that. So the idea came second, but it was more about the team that we could assemble together and start off. And that's how the 4 of us came together and just said, okay, let's build a company. We quit our jobs, and we had more than 10 years of experience. We put all our money in, and said, okay, let's build something. And as software engineers, we are looking at, okay, so what problem can we solve? And we only understand B2B really well because of our nature of our experience. And that's how we got started. And we said, okay, so recurring revenue seems to be taking off. Everybody has some kind of a challenge around this is a problem. And that seems to be interesting to solve. And we got started off with building the billing system. And here we are.
So when you guys bootstrapped in the beginning, how long were you bootstrapping before you raised your first round of outside money?
So we bootstrapped for over 18 to 20 months because we just wanted to build a company. We thought that's the only way to build a company. We just bootstrapped with our own money. And later on, we ended up raising money.
And what was why did you guys raise money?
One is when it comes to software as a service, it's kind of front-loaded cost. So it's when we started off, we thought we just wanted to build a company over a period of time. We were just taking a long-term view of it, and we started off. And what we realized was to build something more global and sustainable, it is going to take a lot more capital to be able to do it. Either we launch something faster and make some customer money, or for the nature of our service, we found that our solution is a lot more complex because it's billing and payments, and we had to get a lot of certification and all that. So there is a lot of front-loaded cost involved. So we decided to take angel capital from friends and some angel investors. And that is how we did a convertible round of convertible debt for about $370,000. We started off as a friends round for $40,000, but ended up raising a lot more because we had a great set of friends and angel investors who just came in at that time.
Awesome. And now looking at your Crunchbase profile, I see that you've raised money from two really, really good VC firms. Well, I guess Accel Partners is a VC firm, and then Tiger Global is more like like an investment firm / hedge fund / private equity. Like, I'm not even sure what they are, but they only invest in mostly later stage companies. Like they're the thumbtacks, and they're doing some big rounds. How did you guys come across Tiger Global?
Sure. So there is no better validation for an investor than finding their portfolio companies using other compelling products, right? So for us, Accel and Tiger happened similar way, where companies like Freshdesk, which were their portfolio companies, were our customers, and they spoke very highly of us. So there is no better validation than that for the team as well as the product. And company products like Soylent had already started using Chargebee, and they could see that it's a sunrise sector where it's an interesting problem to solve when it comes to widespread revenue billing operations. But at the same time, it's a moonshot when it comes to how big it can be. But a compelling product where we will continue to generate revenue on our own if we solve the right problem the right way for our customers. So we got introduced through our customers, and these things fell in place because I think that the team has been really good, phenomenally good team.
Now, talk to us. I mean, certainly I love Stripe. A couple of weeks ago, I interviewed Shippo. They're like the shipping API or the shipping version of Stripe. You guys are really the subscription billing. I mean, I look at the website and you can just tell, that you guys really want to partner with developers and make this process as easy for them as possible. But you also do a lot for startups, and that's why I was referred to you, because you guys want to help the startups. You want to help them get going. Talk about what services and what plans you offer startups to help them get started.
Sure. So as a product, this complements Stripe, Braintree, PayPal, and different payment gateways. So we are like an abstraction layer where we have pre-integrated with all the payment gateways, so you don't have to repeat yourself with billing logic on top of each. And so the way it works is you can, as a small business, you can start with Chargebee on our launch plan, which is a free $50,000 free tier in aggregate revenue. So once you make $50,000 in free tier revenue, by that time you probably have at least $3,000 to $5,000 in recurring revenue going, and then you would move into one of our paid plans, which starts at $99. And you can scale with us, and then our higher tiers kick in, which is once you grow beyond a certain size, then we have a $199 plan and then a $399 plan and above. So it's built for startups from the idea stage to get started with us. all the way through several layers, several stages of scale, where we have customers like Freshdesk, which have more than 100,000 customers in more than 100 countries using us. We also work with very early stage companies that start with us. So we are built more like a do-it-yourself product where you can come in, configure a few things, plug it into your product, and then keep scaling with us. And then we have all the flexibility with the API. So it's more like Stripe for billing is how we position ourselves with flexibility of any payment gateway.
Right. So, one of the companies I'm getting ready to relaunch is my supplement company. Before we were doing it kind of a la carte. You come to the website, you order some stuff, but then I have to keep a bunch of inventory. It's hard to, predict what next month's orders may look like. So now we're going to relaunch the company and do it as a subscription service exclusively. And that's one of the reasons I got connected with Chargebee is because, it's going to be subscription billing every month, recurring revenue, very predictable for us. We know how many orders are coming in, so we know how much product to have on the shelves. So it really makes our life easier. And then hopefully Chargebee, you guys will be a great partner for us. I'm sure you've probably worked with so many different companies. Some are growing fast, some are growing slow. Some raise money, and you can probably watch, growth accelerate dramatically. What are some of the startups or what are some of the companies that you work with that you're really excited about? And then what are some of the customer acquisition strategies that you've seen them using that are working?
Sure. So there are two types of companies, right? One is software as a service companies, and then there are e-commerce services and service companies. So very interesting one is the subscription businesses around e-commerce, where not every product is inherently built for subscriptions, but there are some products where it's consumption based or it is designed for subscriptions. For example, Vinyl Me Please is my favorite, apart from Soylent. So Vinyl Me Please is a music CD vinyl record subscription. And what they do is, along with the vinyl record, they also give you a recipe for cocktail and the background of the music, a story about the music and how the cocktail goes with it. And it's just inherently viral because you don't just put on music and when you have friends for dinner, you are very likely to actually show your taste for music by playing the record and then also serving them the cocktail, and you have a story to tell, right? And it inherently has this virality built in as part of the product. And so those kind of products are brilliant the way they are packaged and sold, and they go, they can actually scale beautifully. And then there are products like Soylent, which are extremely compelling, right? You either hate it or like it, but you cannot ignore it. And then that's again another category of product which actually is packaged brilliantly and then offered to customers. And then there are customers like Freshdesk, which is a software as a service product which competes with companies like Zendesk. They started off with us when they had less than 500 customers. And we have been working very closely designing our product roadmap for a recurring revenue business that is going after at a global scale and serving 100,000 businesses. And aligning our product roadmap with them has been a constant challenge on the engineering side. At the same time, we have been able to get out of the way when it comes to enabling their financial operations to stay streamlined, and then we keep scaling with them. It's pretty interesting the way each of them is scaling. Some of them are have organic inbound marketing as their core strategy, complemented by some inorganic growth, versus some of them are focus on inbuilt virality of their own product.
Right. I mean, Soylent is for people who aren't familiar, Soylent is a food company. I've never actually used their product, but I've heard a lot about them. It's like, I think people describe it as a more intelligent way of eating, where it's food that's kind of designed for your body, really customized. Am I pretty close there?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So I didn't actually realize that they had a subscription service, but it makes sense because food is perfect. Food you're constantly consuming on a weekly or monthly basis. So, having it shipped directly to you every 2 weeks or 4 weeks is perfect, especially if the product is not available in local retail stores. And I'm assuming a lot of the e-commerce companies you work with are really just selling online, right? They're not selling in brick and mortar stores.
They are. Most of them are online. Some of them have a mix of on-store. Now, Soylent is available in some of the retail stores.
Oh, okay.
So they have a mix of both as well.
Wow. Yeah, they're probably bigger than I thought. I mean, I know they've raised $20 or $30 million. I know Fresh Desk has raised, like $150 million. They've already made a bunch of acquisitions. So, I mean, you work with a wide spectrum of companies, the small companies, just starting like mine, big companies with, hundreds, maybe even thousands of employees. How do you service such a wide spectrum of clients? And what does your customer service department look like?
Sure. So we don't have... to understand the whole customer acquisition and service model, right? It's built very much like an inbound model where the word of mouth virality and the organic search results is what drives prospects to discover Chargebee. And we have a free trial of the product, so you can sign up online and then try the product. And we deliberately designed it in a do-it-yourself fashion, just like the way you would actually look at a payment gateway like Stripe, which is disrupting the payment space. So when the prospects come into our website, they find that, okay, this is subscription billing and it has invoicing in it. So let me give it a try. And we give a free sandbox, forever free sandbox trial. So which means that they can play around with it for how much ever time they want without actually enforcing any time constraints. And then our customer service is we have a 24/5 customer support team. And also we have a lean weekend support. So that actually is our main sales channel, even though we don't really call it a sales team. So the interesting thing is when customers have a query, and then if you have a question about, okay, so does it work for my product? We don't route it to our sales team or inside sales team. Instead, our customer support team tries to understand what is the nature of your business, what is it you're attempting to do, and then they try to tell you whether it works for you or not. And that kind of, that helps you get confidence about our responsiveness of support, as well as knowing whether the product really works or not. So for a product like billing, there's no point in us pushing a product to you. If it does not work for you after 1 week, obviously we are going to lose you as a customer. So what is the point in onboarding, right? So we just took a different approach to the entire sales model. We said, okay, let's just work as consultants who would evaluate and tell, because we know our product, we can quickly understand your pricing model and tell you whether something works or not. So we have a 10, 12-member team. So we have a 78-member team now all over the globe, with most of the team based in Chennai and San Francisco. But more than 15% of our team is all customer support, and then a couple of more people in customer success, and then 4 inside sales engineers. So all this close to 20-member team focuses only on evaluating your pricing model and telling you whether something works or not, how it can help you, and then we onboard the customers. And then there is this, most of it is email-based support, so that we don't have to necessarily load up the team for phone-based support. But whenever there is an urgent need, we provide we have a callback request, and then we call up the customer and then speak with them. So it's kind of like an extended team that can work that can scale globally, is how we try to design it, and that has been working out nicely so far.
Right. That is definitely the new strategy or the new business model for most companies these days. Is very little. They want to do email support, they want to do live chat support, and then phone support is like the third or fourth option down. Right. Now, when I go to Google and I type in subscription billing, you guys are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th down after a couple paid ads. How much inbound clicks or traffic do you see from Google? Whether it's paid clicks or SEO, is that a big channel for you in terms of inbound clients?
Yes, it is. So 70% of our customers are organic leads, which means that they discover through Google or through some other forums like Quora or Hacker News and other channels. And 30% of our leads are now inorganic. So till recently, we had been dependent only on the organic leads, and now we are ramping up the inorganic channels like Google AdWords. So we get like a few thousand leads every month, out of which 70% of the leads are through organic. So okay. All the customers, prospects are driven through inbound content marketing.
Across all your marketing channels, content, social, pay-per-click, SEO, everything else. I mean, do you have an idea of what your actual customer acquisition cost is?
Yes, we do. Right, it's in the it's less than blended cost would come down to less than $50.
Okay, that's pretty good. And then how long do you guys typically take clients? Once a client gets out of the free trial and they become a paid customer, how long do they typically stay with Chargebee?
Because of the nature of the business, right, early stage companies, many of them tend to, so in a year and a half or 2 years, many of them tend to churn, right, because they are not able to sustain the business. Yeah. Right. So but once they start making money, they kind of stay forever, because if you look at our the way the standout aspect of what Chargebee as DNA is, from a team standpoint, it has been customer support, which is exceptionally good customer support, so that there is no lock-in in terms of agreements, right? It's all month on month, but at the same time, we believe that if you are happy and making money, right, and you get value out of customer of Chargebee, then you will continue to stay as a customer. So for all the customers who actually make money with us, we have not had much of churn at all. That I would put it at less than 0.1% when they start making money. But when companies are experimenting with their sustainable pricing model, we do see the typical SMB churn, which is anywhere between 3 to 5% in the lower end of the spectrum. But as long as the customer acquisition cost is lower than your cost of serving customer, I think that will work out in the long run.
Awesome. Let's talk. Let's see. How about your investors? So you got two great investors, Accel. I mean, I'm not going to include the friends and family and the early stage angels. I mean, I don't know who they are, but maybe they've added some advice or some value over time. But with regards to Accel and Tiger, what's been your favorite part about having them as part of your investment team?
Sure. For a product of this nature, like billing, right? Customers are trusting their core part of the business on Chargebee. So when we launched the product and then we were onboarding customers, a lot of them liked us for the level of service. But some of them, which were scaling, were also afraid that what if you guys go away? Who are you guys, right? You say that you have a C Corp deliver in US, but most of the team seems to be located in a place like Chennai, which some of them have not heard. Right. And then they are like, so what happens if you decide to go away? And once an investor like Accel came in, right, one, it added credibility, a lot of credibility to the team and then the people behind it. Number two, they also helped us understand the market a lot better than what we understood ourselves, right? What is the scale of operation that we can really go after? What is a real opportunity out there? Those were things that we were able to. So the fundraising with Accel did not happen in like a month or so. We knew them for over a year, where we were speaking with them on a regular basis. I really liked the partner who came on board, Shekhar Kirani from Accel. And he had been the one who had been challenging us with our assumptions, trying to understand, is this a feature of a payment gateway or is it a product in itself? Right. How does it add value to your customers? And how are they looking at you, right? Not how you are looking at the problem, but how is the customer looking at the problem? By constantly being challenged by an investor like that, we were actually able to understand about the deeper problem that we need to really understand and deliver value. I think that has been super helpful. So as a first-time entrepreneur, having somebody like a sounding board and a coach who's constantly challenging your assumptions and then helping you understand the bigger market opportunity has been really good. And at some point, it became very obvious for them to ask us, okay, guys, we have been talking for over a year. Now, are you going to raise money or not, right? And then it became a question of, okay, let's do it, right? And that's how the funding happened.
Now, does Chargebee work with the big e-commerce platforms like Shopify, BigCommerce, OpenCart, WooCommerce, Squarespace? Do you guys work with them?
We do. So we are building a native integration with Shopify, but there are customers already on Shopify who use our plug-and-play solution, which is it works like PayPal, right? So you go into PayPal, you grab a URL for, let's say you want to sell a $10 product, you can just grab a URL and link it to your subscribe button. Just like the same way in Chargebee, people set up their Shopify e-commerce website and they put a subscribe button on it. And then in Chargebee, they create their price catalog where they create all the products that they want. and grab the hosted page URL and link it to the website, to the subscribe button, and they are good to go. They can start accepting payments. Right? They configure the payment gateway account and they get paid.
What if someone is very, very untechnical? Who helps them do all that stuff on the back end so that the subscription stuff is set up correctly? Is that more on the shoulders of Shopify? Like their support team?
So most of the founders actually, even the non-technical ones, can set it up themselves.
Okay.
So it takes anywhere between 4 hours to just a couple of days to get everything set up. Because most of it, we have it all pre-configured and ready. There are ready templates to go so that you can get started and have a business running within 4 hours without any technical help. But there is a basic, if you know HTML and how links work, that is all you need to know to get started with Chargebee. And once you are building some traction and have validated the idea, then you can bring in a designer who can just help you customize the hosted page to make it look like your website, and then keep on adding flavor to it so that you optimize your conversion on the hosted page. And then you think, okay, now we have a few hundred customers and subscribers. Now let's figure out a way to make it all automated. Then you can actually hire a developer for, like, let's say a week, and then have it all completely automated end to end. Right? So you can actually do this in iterations. That's how it works.
Yeah, because there's a lot of non-technical people out there. I'm kind of one of them. So, but I've, usually I can hack my way to make it work. What's been the biggest challenge so far since you started Chargebee? You said you started it in one of your friend's apartments, or your apartment essentially, right?
Yes. So it's a friend's apartment. So wow. So we would just put a screen in between and said, okay, that side of the screen is your house, right? And then here we are taking over the
house. That's awesome. I love these stories. I love the stories where it's just a bunch of friends come together. They know they want to build something. They're not even sure what they want to build yet, and they just start hacking away, building, engineering, and then here we are 5 years later. You guys have, raised millions of dollars from two of the best VC firms on the planet, and you're kicking ass. It's a good story. I like it.
The way you're saying it actually makes it sound nicer, right? Never thought of it that way.
I made it sound sexier than it really is, probably, right? There's probably a lot of not maybe dark's not the right word, but a lot of tough days, right, between 5 years ago and today. You guys have been through a lot of stuff, I'm sure.
Absolutely, right? There are times when you feel like, okay, did I make the right choice when it comes to actually quitting and starting? Right? There are times like that, right? And then you stick it through, and then next day you just get up and then show up in office. It's more about showing up regularly. That's it.
I mean, how many months was it after you started the company were any of you able to even take a paycheck?
About 24 months.
Wow.
No, I think 24, 30 months. Yeah. But I think working over 10 years really helped because I think by nature, four of us have been very frugal with our lifestyle. So we just saved up enough to be able to take this risk and had a lifestyle that did not have to change much, even while not earning for over 2.5 years.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. See, a lot of people, they get into their 20s or 30s and they want to start a company, but they just have not been frugal and they don't have the savings. So they're not really able to bootstrap. So they're they become so reliant on getting an investment. And if they can't get that investment, then they can't start the company.
That's true. You leave it to somebody else, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why the investors want half the company, and it's because they're putting up all the money. I mean, that's kind of how it works. If someone takes all the risk with all the money, they get a lot of the company. So, I mean, because you guys were able to bootstrap it so far, even though you've raised outside money, you've probably been able to retain a good percentage of the stock, right?
That is true. It really helps to be able to put your own money in where you are not starting off thinking somebody else needs to put money in, right? So the intent should be, how do I build something sustainable? And then keep working through it. And if the idea takes a form where you think, okay, now that's brilliant potential and the idea deserves to get money because you can see it through to help it realize the potential, then it makes sense to raise money. But raising money should not be the objective, in my opinion.
So certainly you guys have become one of the go-to companies for subscription billing for startups. You work with a lot of companies, but I'm sure you still want to get those bigger companies, right? The biggest subscription services, the biggest SaaS companies. So how do you guys win that business?
Sure. So many of them still continue to come through the inbound channels. For example, recently we onboarded AB InBev, right? One of the biggest brand names out there. They have Budweiser as one of their portfolio products. But they still reach out to us through the inbound channels by word of mouth, where the developers really love looking at the solution. And then they would recommend that they look at Chargebee. If you look at g2crowd.com, they are like the new Gartner for SaaS products. And we, in terms of customer satisfaction and as a solution, we stand on the far right as one of the high performers in that space. And that is hard for some of the companies to ignore when they are doing their research. And I think that just makes it compelling when they say, okay, let me give it a try. And they look at the product and evaluate. And then they talk to us. And that is how we still discover them, continue discovering them.
I mean, was it AB InBev? I mean, I've heard the name before. It is
AB InBev. Yes,
massive beer company, massive, liquor, spirits, beer. I mean, I think they have everything. I mean, they're well over $100 billion. I'm pretty sure. So to take them on a client is quite an accomplishment. So congratulations.
Thank you.
What is your favorite piece of software that you use every day? So it's a piece of software that Chargebee has not built. It's something third party, but is there a particular? It could be 1, 2, 3. I think myself and even the listeners are always looking for, new pieces of software that can make our daily lives more productive or interesting. So any recommendations there?
Oh, interesting question. I really like, on a regular basis, I use Positionly as a product, right? I think it's built brilliantly in terms of the value and the price point. The way it works, it's really brilliant. I like it.
What Positionly? I'm not
Positionly. Yeah, Positionly. Positionly.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Positionly.com. It is an SEO optimization product. If you want inbound leads, you need to know how you rank and where you rank in each country. And this product will help you understand how you are performing for various keywords. And I think the execution has been brilliant. I like Zapier a lot and Intercom. Zapier, because it's a do-it-yourself product where a lot of our customers, they need to plug in multiple products that they have. Right? For example, your own website, you would want the Chargebee data, your subscribers, to go into MailChimp, or some of the data to go into either a CRM system and so on. And Zapier does a brilliant job of actually tying these things together, but with a do-it-yourself integration. Right? So we plugged into Zapier, and now hundreds of applications are connected. Right. So I like products like that, which enable any entrepreneur to get started and then scale. And later on, when they scale, they can always figure out to bring how to integrate it much better. Either they could bring in developers, or they can continue using this. And I still use like 10 or 20 Zaps, which really make my life easy, even though we have developer access. So that's another brilliant product I love.
Awesome. Yeah, those are a couple of good perks. I mean, I've heard Zapier. I've never actually used it before. Positionly is a new one. I'll have to check them out. So, I think most entrepreneurs, especially if you're running online businesses, they need to know how they're scoring, on certain keywords. So, I'm sure, and most of your clients are online businesses and SaaS companies that probably do it, that rely on inbound marketing as a big part of their business model. So, just a couple more questions here, and we'll kind of wrap up. If you could be mentored by any entrepreneur, who would it be?
Wow. Interesting.
And if you pick someone,
I would love to. I would love to connect with. I would definitely say Mark Benioff of Salesforce. Okay. If there is one person I would love to meet and then be mentored by, definitely Mark.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a good choice. Actually, the founder that I interviewed yesterday, Mark Benioff, is actually one of his early stage investors. So, yeah, I know. But I mean, he said that Mark's so busy that he really never gets a chance to talk to him or see him. So,
definitely.
But it's still kind of cool to see to say that Mark Benioff is one of your investors. Take us 3 years down the road, right? So let's call it late 2019. Is Chargebee an independent company still, or have you been acquired? What do you think?
Definitely an independent company that is serving thousands of customers around the world. Right now, we serve about 3,000 plus businesses worldwide. I would assume that should have quadrupled or more in terms of businesses that we are serving worldwide, and hopefully a lot more of our early stage businesses should actually be on the path to pre-IPO, IPO stage. If we are enabling more successes to come through Chargebee, I think we would have done a brilliant job. I still see ourselves as an independent company that is serving thousands of businesses worldwide.
Great. Awesome. I'm sure you guys will get there. I mean, it sounds like you guys are growing pretty fast, and you've created a great solution for a lot of entrepreneurs to build their company. And I know that, billing is not one of those things that we like to deal with, but it's a critical part of, staying in business. So to know that there's a solution like Chargebee makes life a little bit easier. What's your number one personal goal over the next 12 months?
Personal goal in the context of Chargebee, right?
No, I mean, you can. I mean, I know your life is. I know Chargebee is probably your life,
Chargebee, right?
But I mean, you can. You okay? So you could do your number one goal with Chargebee, and then your number one personal goal.
Right. Number one goal with Chargebee is definitely figuring out more lead acquisition channels, right? You mentioned initially that this is something people would want to learn about, but that's something that we also want to learn about in terms of doing it a lot better, smarter worldwide. That's my number one goal, right? To be a learning machine when it comes to customer acquisition and marketing. That's my number one goal, to get better at it. Personal goal, would like to spend a lot more time with my kids. I have two boys, 7 and 3-year-old, right? So when I started off, it was just one kid who was 1 year old, 1.5 years old when I started off. And when I look back, suddenly I have two boys, 7 and 3-year-old, and it's only a matter of time before the 7-year-old boy becomes a teenager, and then he becomes more independent, right? I think it's about time I start spending a little bit more time with the kids, and I'm just trying to strike a balance between these two things. That's my second goal.
It's hard. Balance is hard, isn't it?
It is.
Well, that's pretty much all I got for you today. Any parting words that you'd like to leave with the audience? Any advice that you have that you've learned along your journey that you can share with them?
Sure. So for me, the biggest learning has been putting together a really good team where in every function, be it sales, marketing, growth hacking, or design, we need folks who are like an individual learning mission, people who are like sponge absorbing. And as long as we find those people with that hunger, I think entrusting them with responsibility has been the biggest learning for me as an entrepreneur, right? By giving a top of the mind problem to somebody and then trust them to just figure out solutions for the problem and then enable them and you get out of the way. I think that has been my biggest learning, to be able to scale a team to 80 members. That I would say is my suggestion to pretty much everybody else who's looking at scaling, is to trust people who are learning things on the job and then get out of the way.
How many people now work for Chargebee?
78.
Wow, that's a good number. You guys are probably. I mean, do you think in 2017 you'll cross the 100 mark?
Yes. Definitely. We hire directly from campuses, students directly out of college. So I think we are already on the path to 100 by mid of next year. And
okay, so you do most of your hiring from college campuses. Are the founders of the company still involved in the hiring process, or have you hired a full-time, internal recruiter or HR person?
The internal recruiter facilitates it, but we are very much involved in every single hire.
Okay. And then in terms of culture, I mean, what kind of importance and effort do you guys put into building the right culture for the company?
A lot of thought goes into it to try and make sure that people are challenged constantly. And it's a very informal group where we are in serious business of billing, but then we don't take ourselves seriously. So we try to make sure that people are very friendly with customers as well as internally. And that kind of reflects in every aspect of how we go about things.
Right.
And customer support comes first. So we push everybody to get into customer support before they get into their own job, so that they have better context of what they're working on, who they are serving. So that has been those have been few of the things that we have been very conscious about building as part of the culture of the team.
That's great. 78 employees. Would you say most of them have stock options in the company?
Yes, they do. So earlier we used to actually do stock options for everybody, but then we decided to kind of do it on a need basis because some of them, the context of where we operate also matters. So we have started doing stock options for employees once they start contributing to long-term success. So people who are, so we do that after 6 months after joining, we start giving stock options.
Yeah, that's okay, right. Yeah, I mean, I think you because you're in India, you probably don't have that Silicon Valley curse where there's 1,000 other companies that have all raised money. They're all trying to recruit your people away. You probably don't have as much competition for recruiting in your area, do you?
we do have that level of competition, right? Only the context varies, but it depends on who you go after, right? So we find our own watering holes, which is why we look for talented people who are not sought after by some of the blue chip companies, but we go after the ones who can spend more time with us as an intern right from the college days, and then they join us because they love working with the team. So we try to recruit even when they are in college as an intern for 6 months. And then they continue working with us.
Well, it sounds like a fun place to work. And when people are having fun, they perform well and, they add value to the business and the customers. So I think you guys have the recipe down to a science. So we'll end it there. Krish, I really want to thank you for coming on the show today. It was a real pleasure to have you. I'm looking forward to building, my own relationship with Chargebee for a couple of my companies. So wish you guys the most success. Keep kicking ass, and you're welcome back anytime you want to give us some updates.
Thank you so much. It was fun talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have an awesome day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You too.